Okay, where we left last time is we had our project up here. This is our default code that came out of this. And what we'd like to do is actually download this code, even though it doesn't do very much, to the FRDM K64. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here. We've got our binaries, and those are things we want to download. We're going to go to this little debug thing, and we're going to open this up to Debug Configurations. So if we open that up, we've got a number of options: GDB, hardware debugging, OpenCD, and so on. But we've downloaded the J-Link Segger stuff, so what we're going to do is we're just going to double click on that, and it's going to bring up this window. Now under here, under Debugger, it's got our CPU here, it's got everything we need. All these things are fine, except there's one minor glitch, and that's under Startup. What we're going to do is disable SWO because that isn't really supported here, and then we're just going to say apply, and we're going to say debug, and it's going to not work. It's going to come up with this little message here, which means that this is a problem and we shouldn't be getting this screen. So we're just going to say no and get out. And you're going to ask yourself, well, what the heck just happened? Why is this not working? Well, let me take a look. First of all, there's a couple things that can go wrong. What I'm running is a Mac, and under the Mac I'm running Parallels, and under Parallels I'm running Windows 8. So one of the things that you're going to run into is if you look up here under Devices, under External Devices, you should see something down here called J-Link. And if you don't have that checked, you should click on this so that J-Link is going to be associated with your Windows 8. The other thing that can be a problem is, especially when you're running an emulator, is that you should disconnect and reconnect the FRDM 64 to make sure that it's going to properly take. So sometimes you have to disconnect and reconnect it a couple times. Now let's try that again. Let's go up here to our debug, slide over here, and we should go to Debug Configurations. All we have to do is double click on this, and this time what we're going to have is this thing Terms of Use. And this is exactly what you should see every time. And we're just going to hit Accept. Now it's going to ask us to confirm our perspective change. And if we look over here up at the top, we want to switch to the debug perspective, which is different than the one that we have. So we're just going to say yes. And what it's going to do is it's going to switch us to that perspective. Now let me just back out. So right now, everything is ready to go. If we take a look up here at the top, we can see that we have a number of different things that we can do. We have step over, we got step into. All of the debugging stuff that we have is here. Now what we want to do is add one other screen here, because what we want to do is to be able to peek and poke at stuff. So if we go up here to Window, under Window we can open this up and say Show View. One of the views that we want to see here is Memory Browser. And Memory Browser is going to allow us to peek and poke at stuff, and what we want to do is we can just hold down the left mouse button, slide it around until we put it where we want it, and then we can have that as our new perspective. So we can change these screens around to anything we want. Okay, one of the things that we didn't look at so far is this little button here called Reset Target and Restart Debugging. So we click on that, it's going to put us to the first line of code that's here. Now this is PE low level init, and if we take a look over in the left margin, there's a breakpoint set here. So we double click that, the breakpoint goes away. If we double click again, it puts a breakpoint back. And the concept is it's going to run till it hits the breakpoint, then allow us to look around. So if we start actually doing a step into, you can see the PE low level init goes into this code here. And if we keep doing the step into, it goes down here and does a set base priority, and then it goes here, does a little bit of ASM stuff, and finally what it's going to be doing is when it comes back here is it's going to be sitting in this forever loop. So it did a low level init, which didn't do very much, and then it sits in this little for loop. Now what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go in and do some graphical configuration of the processors so we can actually start dealing with the red, green, and blue LEDs. And before we do that, we're going to have to look at the schematic to see where exactly where the blue, red, and green LEDs are connected to which pins, and then we'll be able to continue on at that point. Now, the other thing is that we want to do is when we're finished any of our debugging sessions, what we want to do is terminate what we've got going on here. And when we get back out here, what we want to do is go up to the right-hand corner here and exit. Now it's going to ask confirm exit, and we can just say yes. Now we can click on here so it won't prompt us each time, but we're going to get out. What we'd like to do is go back to here, and right now what I've set up already is this little tile. Now I'm going to show you how to set this tile up if you haven't done that, so when you get to Windows 8 you can go right in. So I'm just going to right mouse click and I'm going to say unpin from start, and away it goes. Now how did we get it here in the first place? Well, if you go down here and click this arrow and go to Kinetis Design Studio, whatever app you want, you can right mouse click on it and say pin to start. And what it's going to do is put it somewhere on the screen here, and then we can just slide it wherever we want, and then we can actually just click on here and go right into Kinetis Design Studio. And this is going to make things so much easier for us. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some schematics and so on, and then come back to what we're working on.